I'm always doing some kind of a report card on myself, like an ongoing report card. Think of it like a graph is monitoring what's going on inside. So if I'm having a difficult conversation, say 5 years ago, notice at the top I have this telling you how long it's been. If I'm having a difficult conversation about 5 years ago, on the outside, I can remain calm. See, I'm not doing like this. I can actually remain calm on the outside, but the internal workings of my limbic system, fight or flight mode, my vagus nerve activation, cortisone going through my system, heart rate elevated, more tension in my blood vessels. All this is what you might consider high, even though I'm calm on the outside. One of the goals of transformation into a spiritual person is to pursue spiritual exercises to bring this down, to lower this, and it takes time. So if I were to self-evaluate myself 5 years ago, yeah, I can sit and calmly have the discussion, but that's what's going on inside me. Okay? Now, let's fast forward to 3 years ago. I'm going to go from 5 years ago to 3 years ago. Okay? Now look, it's a little lower. A little more control. It's a little bit better. It's a little more regulated, a little more emotional regulation, internal emotional regulation. So I'm still calm on the outside. And the internal activities, I've been able to keep those from getting as drastic as they were. And then fast forward to today or the current mode, I've gotten pretty good, just looking at my own internal self-report card, at staying pretty calm in most situations, even some challenging ones. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some that don't rise me above this, like I was, 3 years ago. There are some, but it takes more now. It used to take less to get me here and get me here. Now it takes a lot more to get me there now. And the same level of stimulation that would have had me here 5 years ago now has me here today. So I'd say that's an improvement. So you're like, how do you think about how do you measure your spiritual growth? How do I tell whether I'm going from a green belt to a brown belt or not? How do I do that? And I think this is one of the ways that you can do this. Maintain a constant ongoing self-report card of how your interactions go and what's going on inside your body. Okay. And then evaluate yourself and compare. So this conversation that I had with Paula yesterday, we decided to seriously challenge each other on something. just for the heck of it. Like, oh, you did? So she's like, okay, well, what about this? And there we go. So I immediately go into report card mode, and she brought up something where I made a decision that she didn't agree with, and we talked about that. And then we finished that in a few minutes. And so then I brought up something that I was requesting her to do differently in the future, where I disagree with the way she does something. And so we talked about that for a few minutes. And then afterwards, we asked, okay, how'd you feel? How'd that go? What was your body doing during this time? And it was fun. It was a fun response. So we don't have arguments where we are like yelling and fighting each other. We just don't do that. We both know what we're doing while we have challenging conversations, and it's fun. It's like a video game to evaluate yourself and keep your body under control and realize what you're attached to and let go of some of those things. So it's fun. It's a fun little exercise. So I highly recommend that as a practice for yourself. And if you can bring your spouse in on it too, it's even better. But you don't want to be contentious and rivalrous where you start weaponizing this against each other. You're not doing your self-report card very well, are you? That kind of thing. Ugh. It's like when some spouses, doesn't matter what tool you give them, whether it's the Bible or whether it's psychology, they will find a way to beat their spouse over the head with it. If it's the Bible, you're not loving me like you're supposed to. You're not submitting to me like you're supposed to. And if it's psychology, you're a narcissist, that kind of thing. And we don't want to do that with the tools at our disposal. So if you evaluate, if I were to give myself a little report card, it would look something like this, to where, okay, here we are 5 years ago, here we are 3 years ago, here we are today. Now notice that we're talking about years here, okay? We're talking about years of careful attention while pursuing practices that are enabling of this lowering of the trend. Things like meditation, things like Dr. Caroline Leaf's methodology, and then just plain knowledge of what's going on in the body is also very helpful. It removes some of the unknown unknowns. When you know that your emotional outburst is not actually you, but it's your body doing that. So what I cannot stress enough, so I encourage people to do this. And so I would say that if you can do something that approximates a well-regulated set of emotions, well-regulated emotionality during a challenging situation, and you can remain open and not get in fight or flight mode, that's something you want to strive for. And that's the kind of thing we have in mind when we're talking about the fruit of the Spirit. It's something that you really genuinely feel. You really are temperate. It's not that you're angry on the inside, but you're controlling it well on the outside. It's that you're not actually angry on the inside. It's not that you're frustrated on the inside, but you can overcome that with gentleness on the outside. It's that you actually are gentle on the inside. That's genuine Christian transformation, which is what we want. That's what we want. So going from this over here, going from this to this, this heated discussion over here to this calm, collected looking discussion while this is still going on. A lot of people think that is the fruit of the Spirit. No, that's not the fruit of the Spirit. That's externally imposed behavioral rules. That's following a script. That is not the fruit of the Spirit, and it's not genuine Christianity. Genuine Christianity is the transformation that actually takes the internal workings down into a more moderated state. That's what genuine Christianity is.